Hi, my name is Jayosa. I teach, mentor, and coach people on public speaking so that they can give winning, high stakes speeches, whether it's one on one, in a small group, or in front of a large audience. Today, I want to talk about leadership. I know this is something a lot of people talk about, and you probably have read a lot about leadership. But I was having this conversation with somebody, and we started talking about what is leadership? And we were talking about the people we think of as leaders like President Obama, Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump, all sorts of people. And you can go into the past. You look at like Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Abraham Lincoln, Winston Churchill, FDR, Kennedy, all these leaders. And the person asked me a question, Jay, what is your definition of a leadership? I said, look, I haven't been that type of a leader like Martin Luther King or Gandhi and all that. But I have a simple definition that in order to be a good leader, you have to be an excellent follower. And the person was kind of taken back, like, but wait a second, how is that even possible? When you're at the top, who do you follow? And I said, that's exactly the point. A leader follows his own advice, his own sayings, his own thoughts, his own. If you're not following some underlying principle that you are espousing, then you're not leading anybody. You're just a dictator. So I said there's a difference between a dictator and a leader. Dictator doesn't have to follow anything he says. In a corporation, you can tell if somebody is a dictator in any position. It doesn't have to be in corporation. It could be in sports, in any field. A dictator is a person who just tells you, do this, do that, do that. That's not a leader. That's a dictator. Leader will only tell you something if he's actually following it. And following is very important because a leader knows that he can't know everything. He can follow some ideas, some underlying principle, or he can follow people. So let's say a CEO of a company. He's a leader in one specific area he's leading. The rest of it he's essentially following. So I always say that a leader, a hallmark of a good or a great leader, is somebody who's even a better follower. Without that, you just can't lead. And this is something a lot of people out there don't ever think about. They think like, oh, unless I'm getting people to do something, I'm not a good leader. And I said, no, that's a wrong way of looking at it. I lead, but I lead in a different way. I don't have a title to lead. I lead through example. I come up with ideas. Just recently I came up with this idea. Well, not an idea, it's something I've been doing, but I recorded a video on it, something that I never really much thought of. And it's a simple idea where I go for a walk every morning for about an hour, and I call this the idea or a thinking walk, where I will bring my smartphone and my audio recorder. So I have one in this pocket and one in this pocket. And I will listen to either a podcast or an audiobook. And as I'm listening to it, I'll come up with ideas based on what somebody's saying. And I will record it. And I will have now something to share with somebody. I am following. See, if I'm now recording a video telling people this is what you can do to come up with ideas, I'm leading. But before I can lead, I'm following it. If I'm not following what I'm telling you, I'm not a leader. As I said, I'm a dictator. And there are a lot of dictators out there because leadership is hard. Leadership is work. And there are not that many people who can lead because leadership means that you got to show people what you're doing before you can tell people how to do something. So just keep that in mind that you don't need a title to be a leader. Anytime when somebody is in a leadership position, the way to look at that person and the way he's leading is who is he following? What is he following? And rather than asking like, how do you become a good leader and they'll tell you this and that. No, don't ask that question. Who do you follow? What do you read? Something you got to be following. You can't just lead. Leadership just doesn't happen on its own unless you're born in North Korea and your father happens to be the ruler, and suddenly at the young age of 20 something you are now the leader. That's not a leader. That's a dictator. Think about this. Let me know what you think, and thank you for watching, and be a leader.